Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. Intel has told us there are at least 7.
Okay, I already see one. Give them. Okay.
They're the same picture.
Hey everyone, Mr. Mom Collectibles, and I am back with another video. And if you watched my Hot Toys Batman 1989 2.0 review, if you haven't, what are you doing? Stop this video and go check that out right now. And in that video, I had mentioned I would be doing a in-depth comparison of that versus the DX09. Well, here you go. This is the comparison. We're going to break down every nuance of these figures, starting with the base. Why? Well, because there's elements that were reused. If you see the black base there, that is the original DX09 base. And there is the new diorama that came with the 2.0. And something looks familiar. And yes, I touched on it in the review, but they did in fact use that style as the foundation of that base. The nameplates are a little bit different. On the old one, it says Batman, MMS DX, and on this one, it just says Batman. So the plate's a little bit different, but as I said, they are identical in terms of their structure. And, it says right there, MMS DX on there. And here you have the foundation piece of that, but you could tell it's a repurposed base that they built the church diorama on with a area for the crotch grabber. Now, I want to kind of clarify something before I get started. There's a lot of comments out there on my video on social media groups of just a lot of collectors who are really passionate about this. And I got to say, kudos to those collectors, because I'm a huge Keaton fan and we don't get a lot of Keaton stuff. And so I do have to take a step back and kind of applaud collectors being extremely passionate and their love for this character. Some, I think, take it a little too far in terms of the scrutinizing, canceling orders and things like that. I'm not going to lie, without having this figure in hand, the 2.0, I mean, but I do appreciate the passion from the collecting community in many groups about this particular character. And it means a lot to me personally, being a Keaton fan. So that being said, let's jump right into the details, starting with the boots. On the left-hand side is the 2.0, and the right-hand side is the DX09. And I attached a photo of one of the original Air Trainer, Nike Air Trainer 3s that were used in the movie. These were actually put up for auction, but you can see pretty much a lot of the similarities. The 2.0 is definitely a glossier shade of black. Now, bear in mind, when we compare these items, the DX is over 10 years old. So it's very possible that this could have been a faded color, but you can tell that there is more of a vibrancy in the color of the 2.0. It is a little bit darker and a little bit glossier in some aspects, especially coming with the boot. And as you work your way up, you can definitely see there is a little bit of that texture, that graininess kind of implanted all around the areas of the character in terms of the knee, and behind the knee, you can see the rubber suit, if you will, has a little more texture to it. And like I said, the color. And we're going to look at the boots from the front. Once again, the 2.0 is on the left, then the DX is on the right. And you can see that even with any type of lighting, that the 2.0 is definitely a little more of a pop in terms of color. But overall design, everything pretty much looks identical. There's really not much that I can see that's major that stands out. There's another picture of the shin guards from the original boots, but I wanted to showcase those so you guys can get an idea. And we're just going to move up a little bit. And you can see there's the knee. The knee pad on the 2.0 looks a little bit larger. But like I said, nitpicking here, but that's what this video is meant to be. And you can see that texture is definitely a little more evident in various areas of the legs. Moving up, as you can see, but a lot of it's the same, a lot of repurposed stuff there. And we're going to move on to the gloves. Gloves look identical. The new one, once again, has a little more pop in terms of the color, but once again, the old one could just be a little more faded, because I am the second owner of this figure, so of the old one, I mean, so it could very well just be faded after 10 years, but shit, the figure still holds up, I will say. I have a very clean copy, but a lot of the mold work, everything is the exact same hands. So there shouldn't be really that much of a surprise. Everything really identically looks the same. The gauntlet, the blades, the glove. There's just a lot of similarities there. Now, looking at the back of the figures, once again, the 2.0 is on the left. The DX is on the right. And you do notice an evident difference in the back of the DX. There's definitely more like wrinkling going on with the material than it is on the the 2.0. And then furthermore, the belt itself is different. You can see that the DX has extra cylinders on the backside that were adjusted. And like I said, the back paneling, the legs are a little bit thicker on the 2.0. It's a thicker body overall, and you'll see that with different stances. You see there's just a little more detailing work on the 2.0 versus the DX there, but the legs are thicker, and it stands differently as well. And now here's the front. Once again, there's a lot of stuff going on here, a lot of differences going on. Once again, pointing out the belt, you see those two little canisters that were on the back side of the belt. They were relocated to the front side, which is more movie accurate. That is, so they did upgrade that. I did notice that even like a year ago. So that was one evident change there. And like I said, we're just going to zoom in on the belt so you can see. So it has those two canisters that are more prominent in the front versus you see they're different there. And also the color is different on the belts. It's hard to pick it up on camera, but there is a little bit of off difference. Depending on where you look, the belt is a different color than the bat emblem in many photos. It should be. And there you see the chest area. Now I will say there is a picture of one of the original suits that was restored, and the pattern right there, you can see there's definitely a little more texturing on the chest area versus the DX, but I will say that the ab section looks more accurate on the DX versus the 2.0. It's very sharp and crisp on the 2.0. Very harsh lines, if that makes sense, where the DX looks a little more natural and it looks a little bit more true to the suit. But there is differences in the actual mold itself. It's very evident that they're much more sharp on the 2.0 versus the DX being a little more natural, I guess is a nice way of saying it. But once again, comparing it to the suit, I would say that the DX does win. And there's just another picture of the belt. That is a screen used belt that was put up for auction. Just giving you guys an idea of what that looks like. And yes, it looks a little more copper in the photo because once again, the belt was a little bit different of a color. It wasn't as bright yellow as what it's made out to be on these two figures. Even the figures themselves, they're just a shade off, but they're still not exactly the most accurate of color. I think they're a little too bright yellow in my opinion. But you can obviously weigh in. But as I said, you can see the chest area is definitely a little bit different. The sculpting, everything like that looks a little bit, just zooming in so you guys can see the details. The neck area right below the Adam's apple, that's a little bit different. The way the curvature is there. The muscle tone is a little bit different on the biceps in terms of the molding, just slightly. I mean, like, once again, I'm nitpicking, but I just wanted you to see the differences in the figure, that it's not, in my opinion, it's not necessarily a direct copy and paste. I have made this comment before. I feel like there are minor differences that have elevated the figure. There's no one major change, so to speak. But like I said, we're breaking everything down so you guys can see what the differences are. The 2.0 definitely has a more rugged stature. You'll see that in different posing that I have. It just looks very very just beefy. I don't think that's a bad thing per se. It stands pretty well on its own. And you'll notice it comparing it to the DX. It makes you kind of realize how different the figure looks when they're put. But one thing that's interesting is the DX is actually a little bit taller than the 2.0, but yet here the arms on the 2.0 look a little bit longer, which I found to be quite interesting. And here is probably the most controversial is the head sculpts. So these are just the head sculpts head to head. Obviously, many people are siding with the DX being the more accurate faceplate. I think honestly, there's a combination of two. I think the faceplate on the DX does look more accurate to Keaton, but I don't think it's perfect. If I had to choose between the two, yeah, it's the DX. But seeing an updated sculpt, faceplate, I should say, it does realize that the DX necessarily isn't as perfect as what it was always made out to be. Now, when it comes to the actual cowl itself, I do feel that there's elements of both that actually look correct. And I'll show you guys what I mean. So we're just doing a side-by-side here of the cowl just to give you guys an idea. The cowl on the 2.0 is a brand new sculpt altogether. And what I did here is you'll see this photo, and then I combined it with a photo of Keaton. So you have Keaton from a promotional photo. The middle is the 2.0 and the DX is at the end. And in my opinion, the shape of the DX is a little outdated. I think the 2.0 captures the curvature of the overall, overall cowl better, including the ears as well. You can kind of see the way the ears curl now, and also around the mouth. The actual the lining around the mouth looks more accurate on the 2.0. However, the nose looks better on the DX, how it kind of sticks upward a little bit. It's not as straight as it should be. It flares upward, and the DX does capture that element much better. I think that the brow and elements like that are better on the 2.0. So, like I said, I think it's a mix of both. Ultimately, I always said I think the cowl does look better on the 2.0. And if you watch my review, I took the DX plate and put it on the 2.0 cowl, and that was just something interesting. Now, what I'm going to do here, it's the same photo, but I overlaid using a transparency filter. I overlaid the Keaton photo on top of each just to try to give you guys even a better idea. And once again, it's not perfect, so don't beat me up in the comments, but I just try to give you more of an understanding. And once again, I feel the curvature of the 2.0 cowl does fit better. Once again, I'm using one photo from a promotional photo. There's other photos. I know everyone's saying there's multiple suits. I get that. And this is just my interpretation of the comparison. There's other people making comparison videos. This is just what I'm doing to try to figure out the elements. Ultimately, the conclusion I'm coming to is both cowls, the DX and the 2.0, share positives. There is no perfect one between them. As I said, they both have elements that work. And so if they were somehow mashed together, that would probably be your ultimate sculpt. But this is what we have to work with. And so that's the interpretation that I am trying to give you. And then we're just doing a roundabout on the back side of the cowl where the pointy pieces are, the curves. It is more accurate on the 2.0 that I see. They're a little bit longer, which is a little better, and they're more accurately placed in terms of how they're curved versus the DX. Now, looking at the emblems, the emblem is definitely a little bit more narrow on the new one, which is actually more accurate. And you'll see a photo here of a screen used suit. And you can see even the bat emblem is a little different, where the pointy tip of the middle of the bat is longer, and it does match the 2.0. So in this case, the 2.0 is, I believe, curved better, and the actual bat is more accurate to the emblem itself. And once again, this is just showing you guys the cowls side by side, just to give you guys an idea of the comparison of them and the shape and curvature of everything. Once again, it just showing you guys this another angle, and looking at the attachment from the purse system. And also someone pointed out in the comments, the eyes are actually a different color. I believe one is blue and one is brown. They actually changed the eye color, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, just looking at the back there of the sculpts, and you even see like that piece there. It looked like the markings on the back of the neck, they stopped because of the purse system on the DX. This is once again just checking from this side. Now this here is interesting because these sculpts play tricks on you, because here the DX is on the right hand side once again, and it looks spot on like Keaton. So I'm just trying to play with the angles, so for you watching, you get an idea of just how much these things can change. And for those wondering, like, so the pieces underneath the cowl, installation pieces are different, so you can't swap cowls. But I did try swapping faceplates, as I had mentioned before. Did try doing that, so you guys have an idea of the old plate on the new cowl, which I personally think is probably the best combination overall. Now, looking at this, these are the suits with the actual sculpts on them. And you just see once again how the DX is slightly taller. I do remember Hot Toys saying, I believe it was in a post, that they made the 2.0 a little more movie accurate because Keaton was a shorter Batman, so they were making the height a little more. This is what kind of shocked me, is just how flat the DX is. You can see the 2.0 has a little more back arch to it, a little more. It has to be a different body, where the DX is just flat. Literally, it's just a flat line going straight down his back, down his ass, down to his legs. To be honest with you, there's really not a lot going on. Where the 2.0, they definitely beefed it out a little bit more. Some might say a little too much, but it definitely gives the figure, once the cape is on, a much more heroic and more it's hard to explain, but it just feels right to me. I'm just going to say it like that. It feels right to me that he just feels like more, heroic versus the DX is just very slender overall. And once again, just showing you there the back. Like I was very surprised about the curvature of the 2.0 and how short it is. You can see the height difference there. It is smaller. Once again, meant to be movie accurate to Michael Keaton. And the cowls, you can see once again, the back tip of the cowl is a little bit longer, and the actual curvature of the cowl, the way they curve like those pieces, yeah, you see there, it kind of matches a little better on the 2.0 versus the DX from there. So like I said, the cowl is completely different, and how it fits on the actual use right there, that tip is longer on the 2.0 versus the DX, which is on the right hand side. And then once again, you see all that wrinkling and creasing on the back of the DX, which is kind of sculpted into it. And this is just the front side again, just showing you guys what they look like with the cowls on in terms of just the overall look. This is in my light box, just straight lighting, nothing too crazy. Just to note, I will do an outdoor comparison, because I know a lot of people appreciated the outdoor with the natural light, and I will be showing that off in a few moments. But once again, you can see there the height difference, and look at the arm length. The arm, obviously the arms are just natural. They don't lay flat to the side. They do stick out a little bit, but it is interesting that the 2.0, I've been noticing that it's a shorter body, but the arms look a little bit longer than the DX, as you can see there. And like I said, the arms on the figures are just the way they are. Like I see on the DX, one is a little closer to the body than the other. It's just the way the suit and the figure is posed up in that way. So I did my best to try to get it in a straight up and down museum pose, but like I said, this is the best I had. And once again, I don't know if anyone else is going to go that in depth to verify that, but it feels like mine. The arms are longer on the 2.0 versus the DX figure. And then, like I said, just doing a side by side so you guys can see the profile of the figures and the differences there, which, like I said, they're minor, but I feel like they add up to the bigger picture. Just going up and down, like I said, just so you guys can take a look. And like even there, the arms look a little more at the same length there. So it could just be me, my eyes playing tricks on me. Who knows? But once again, I just wanted you guys to see an overall of these two figures. The 2.0, like I said, the boot's darker, the suit is a little bit darker, but that could also be because we're comparing this to a 10-year-old plus. I think it's like 10 or 12, if I'm not mistaken. I think the DX, I think, is like 12 years old. And it holds up really well. Like I said, mine has no issues with the suit itself. It still has maintained fantastic quality overall. Now, here we are going to take a look at the capes. This is the DX cape, which is like a pleather-like material. Really not much of a wire in there, but people call this the trash bag cape. But it definitely has like a pleather style to it, which makes it really, thing was a pain in the ass to pose. And pretty much I don't know anybody that really keeps this stock. I think it has a little bit of wires in it, nothing too crazy. The elastic on the front, same way. And it has the slits in there for those poles if you want to do that spread out bat stance. This is the new one. There is no pleather on it. It is a much softer material. The wire, although not strong, it is stronger than the DX cape. So it's not their strongest. It's not as strong as like a Moon Knight or a Black Adam. And here you see the two next to each other, where the DX has more of like a sheen to it due to that pleather-like material that can deteriorate. I can't comment on the 2.0 cape. It doesn't have a pleather-ish material to it. It's kind of like an off material, but it's definitely softer, a little more lightweight in terms of the actual cape itself. And then these are what the figures look like with the capes on. I didn't go too crazy with futzing. I just kind of put them on and tried to make them look as presentable as possible. But even then with the 2.0, it's a wired cape trying to make it look like a drape. You can only get it so much, hence why they make drape capes, which you would have seen in my review So I messed around with the wired and the drape just to give you guys some different options, so to speak. You know, showing the figures themselves here, you'll take a look at the sculpts. So I just did a zoom in on the sculpts and then just kind of once again doing a comparison photo to Michael Keaton. There's the 2.0 with the Keaton sculpt, and then the DX is in the back. Like I said, the faceplate's not perfect, but it definitely shows that there was something there. Like I said, I think there's something in the middle in terms of, I don't think the DX is as perfect as what people were thinking it is, but it is better than obviously the 2.0. That's without a doubt. And then, like I said, this is just doing some side by side, just visuals, just pointing, just once again, just playing around with the figures and checking them out and just see how they look. Nothing too crazy there. Side by side again. Now, this is interesting. For anyone out there that was curious, I took the cape from the 2.0. I put it on the DX09. So for those that are keeping the DX09, maybe you see the cape parted out on like Monkey Depot or something, and you're interested. Yeah, what does that look like? As an upgrade. This is the 2.0 cape wired on the DX09. I didn't do this in my review. I meant to, but I wanted to put it in here just once again, trying to give people options of what could be available. If you come across maybe someone parting out a cape on eBay or anything like that, and you're just curious to see how it fits, here you go. I just wanted to do this demonstration. There's the bag cape there, the garbage bag cape, as many call it, as I said. But I think it looks really good. Like, I'm not a fan of the cape itself. I prefer a drape one, but for Hot Toys to improve, it is a major improvement over the original. There is no doubt about that there is definitely an improvement. And there it is on the diorama, just so you guys can have an idea of what that looks like. But it's it works out really well. So if you happen to come across this for a deal, might be worth picking up if you want to upgrade your DX09 with a Hot Toys branded cape. So this is just some thoughts there if you guys are interested. Now, really quick, faceplates. So here's the bloodied one. The one on the left is the 2.0. Right is the DX. So even though they're bloodied, the blood is different pattern. So it is an all new sculpt. And then we have these two here. We have a neutral pose, and then we have that. I don't know what that plate is. I call it the Bugs Bunny plate. It's weird. It's just weird. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know why I'm comparing it, because I don't know what to compare it to, because it's just weird. And to wrap up the video, this is the outdoor portion, which people seem to enjoy a lot. They made comments on my reviews that the natural light really kind of helped people open their eyes in terms of the quality. And so this is where the video is going to end for the last 2 or 3 minutes. It's just me doing some scenery shots of these two figures outside in natural light. It wasn't sunny out, so it was beautiful outside to do this. I just sat them on the back of my truck and just filmed it. A little windy outside, and you just see these two figures. Once again, the texturing on the suits, it doesn't seem that evident to me. Even in natural light, there is more texture on the 2.0, but I don't think it's as earth-shattering for people to cancel their figures. That's the best way I could put it. This figure has caused a lot of talk, is a nice way of saying it, controversy, drama, I don't know, complaining. I don't know what it is. Yes, you could say maybe I'm fanboying, but I just honestly don't see this is a figure that I think you need to get in hand. Once again, I know for a fact that this is a low batch figure. It's a low batch. It was one batch and that was it. Just because it's Batman, you have to understand Keaton's not always the most popular Batman. We live in a time when Christian Bale is the most popular. So this is a low batch figure. So anyone who has this on Sideshow, I implore you to potentially think about keeping your order and to just see what this figure looks like in hand and then make your assessments. I'm trying my best to give people my opinion about this and what I think is the right thing and what it looks like. But at the end of the day, you as the collector, you make the final say. And I do really think having it in person is the best test overall. Now, in terms of they still don't stand up great on their own. The actual articulation still isn't the best. But that's really it for the head-to-head comparison. I tried doing as much. There is another video that I want to make, which is more like a showcasing, where I want to include the Batmobile and just have some fun with posing and things like that. So stay tuned for that. Um, and then if you're watching this video, there will be another video coming up on my channel within the next 1 to 2 weeks with a special guest who actually is a Hot Toys blogger, photographer, who actually took the photos of the Batman, the blogger photos of the Batman. That is a conversation that I will be having with him. His name is Alex, and we are going to have a pre-recorded conversation that I will upload to my channel. So stay tuned and subscribe to that. He has a lot of intel, and he has a lot to say about the Batman too, because he was a little taken back by the reaction, so to speak. So that's going to be a really fun conversation to have. It's going to be pre-recorded, as I said, and we will have that uploaded to the channel. So stay tuned for that. That's going to hopefully shed some more light on this whole situation. But drop a like on the video. Please consider subscribing to the channel if this is in fact your first time. I really hope you guys appreciate this. Drop some comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Obviously, nothing is perfect. If there's something that I missed, I can still put it in the showcasing video. If you guys are interested in seeing something, if there was something that I didn't fully compare that you guys want to check out, definitely let me know in the comments. I have no problem doubling back. I've been engaging with everybody. As you could tell, I'm very passionate about this figure. And so I am just going to just put out as much content as I can to try to help collectors out there make an informed decision to the best of my possible ability. But until then, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles saying take care, and I will see you guys in the next video.